Thank you. Hey everyone, how's it going? Come on, are you alive out there? How's it going? It's been a long day, right? There's been a lot of presentations, so I have 3 slides for you. I'm going to present 3 slides, and then I'm going to show you some actual working code that is under development right now and what it does. And actually, interestingly enough, the last speaker, a lot of the concepts he talked about are actually things that are behind powering what we're doing. So first of all, I wanted to introduce the company UiPath to you. I understand you may not know who we are. This is a picture of our motley crew of founders who are based in Bucharest, Romania, and founded the company quite a number of years ago. About 8 years back, they realized they had built some technology that helped them automate things on computer screens just like a human could. And that could be a big business, that companies would pay money to help automate white-collar work. And that turned out to be true. They got some seed funding, they kind of got the company off the ground, and as of today, we're a publicly traded company in the last quarter, sort of more than $1 billion in revenue, but more than 10,000 customers using our technology. So pretty much any big brand is using this automation platform. So what does it do? Basically, it's a platform that can automate any work that a person does on a computer. So if you can sit down in front of a computer and you can figure out how to do something by reading screens, by reading documents, by typing things in, our AI technology can do the same thing. So we have invested in a number of different tools. First, the Discover area. What this means is we have tools that help you discover work that can be automated. We can look at processes across line of business systems. We can look at the work that individuals do, and we can tell you where you'll get your highest return on automating pieces of that work. In the orange, we have all the tools to build those automations, and I'll show you some of the AI behind that. That's our AI technology for reading screens. It's our AI technology for reading documents. We have 70 specialized models to understand all the various kinds of documents you might use. And it's our development tooling, which is what we'll look at. And then at the bottom, we have all of the infrastructure and cloud services you need to run the world's largest automation programs. Our largest customer today runs more than 100,000 robots that automate all aspects of their company on the cloud service. So we can run the very largest programs. Now, where do we use AI? As I said, we've built AI into the platform from day one, primarily in our UI technology for reading screens. Generative AI is integrated into the platform. We can now use it in automation. We can use pretty much any model that's out there. I'll show you some. And our intelligent document processing. But we have also spent a lot of time thinking about how to make our tools better with AI. And this is, for us, one of the big use cases for generative AI. So late last year, we unveiled something that we call autopilot. There's a lot of co-pilots out there. Our chief product officer is a pilot himself. He tells me a co-pilot is not as good as an autopilot because an autopilot does it for you when you don't want to do that boring stuff. So that's kind of how we think about it. Our technology is designed to take action and be able to do the things that you don't want to do as a developer. So I'm going to show you some of the autopilots we have that power our developer experiences. Now, who here is an actual developer? All right, a few. I did start my career as a developer. It was quite some time ago, but in the old days, I was in fact a developer. So, I am going to show you, first of all, a pretty simple kind of forms building exercise. So something our customers do a lot, right, is they start with some sort of paper form. They have to digitize that form and then create automations that run off it. So here's a classic kind of paper form, right? It's a vendor onboarding form. It has a set of information it's collecting, things like an email address, a phone number. You'll see at the bottom, it's actually got it's got a choice of how this vendor would like to be paid. It's a pretty standard form. Now, we can, of course, start a low-code forms environment, and we can go in and create this form. But with Autopilot, what we can do is we can literally just give it the form, and it will actually render and build the entire starting application for us. So what I can do here is just go and pick that form, hand it the PDF, and what it's actually now going to do is it's going to open the PDF. It's going to use our document, our specialized document extraction technology to analyze that PDF. It's going to parse all the different elements out of it. It's behind the scenes going to use an LLM model to go and build everything that it needs to digitize that form and do all the right things. I'm not going to bore you with watching that process on a slow connection. We'll come back and see that it's finished. I'm going to go into one that I previously prepared so I can show you what it did. Now, you can see here, it's created the basic form as you would expect, but behind the scenes, it's done a few interesting things. So it's actually created an entity model that's driven based on what it saw on that form. So we have a data service in our platform. It's created the right entities, it's typed them in the right way, and then it's actually bound them to the form in a pretty creative context. So let's go back into the form, and I'll show you a couple of interesting things that it did. So for example, email address. On a paper form, I can't check an email address to see if it's a correct address. In our forms environment, we have actually got an email, we've got an email control, and it understands how to check for a well-formed email. So it's able to automatically bind that and put it in. Probably a little bit more interesting is a phone number. So it's put a phone number field in, it's made it a text field, but it's automatically added the right regex expression to validate that it's a well-formed phone number that's going to be collected when data entry happens. All of that's done by the Autopilot generative AI-powered experience behind the scenes. I didn't have to think about what the right regex was or anything like that. And the final thing I'll show you in the forms experience is the preferred payment method. Now, you'll remember the preferred payment method had checkboxes that I could select the preferred payment. So it's turned that into a drop-down dialog box, and it's already gone ahead and created the right choices. So it's created a set with those 4 options automatically in it and created and bound that UI for me. So that saves me quite a lot of time as a developer, right? I'm not doing the grunt work of laying out forms and doing all of that sort of simple data validation work. I can now get on with building the actual automation that takes place when I click the submit button. And just to show you, in the background, this has been running, and I guess I have an internet connection issue, and it didn't complete, but you get the idea. All right, so now I'm going to transition. I'm going to move into building an automation and show you some technology there. So for this, I'm going to go into a different tool. This is a tool that's called UiPath Studio. And UiPath Studio is our low-code design environment for essentially automating things. You can automate things with APIs if they're available, or you can automate things with UI if there's not an API available. We have a bunch of different connectors and templates you can start from, but you can also start from natural language prompts. So I can describe a process like this, where I say, okay, when a new Salesforce lead is created, I want you to create a personalized email to that new lead using OpenAI and then send that email out via my messaging system. And again, I can ask it to generate that particular automation, and it will go ahead and behind the scenes use models to do that. And we'll leave that running. And while that's running, let me go into an application I have here. So you remember we had our vendor onboarding screen, and it was all ready to go. It had a submit button on it. So what's going to happen when I click submit? Well, in my case, it's going to run an automation, and that automation is going to take some actions for me. And again, we can go ahead and use autopilot to edit that in this particular environment. Let me just refresh this. Come on, internet. The joys of real code. All right, so here it comes. Okay, what I was going to show you here, maybe it'll start working in a second, the ability to do UI automation. So I talked about how our platform can automate UI. I have here a form that is a vendor onboarding application that we want to fill out. It's a back-end system. It's an old proprietary system. There's no API for it. It's literally something that exists in the back office of the company, used by a small number of people. Our technology can read this screen. It can understand all of the different fields that are on it, and then it can go ahead and actually fill that out for me. I can describe in natural language what I want it to do. I can say, take the vendor entity that's just been created and go and enter it into the screen. It will analyze the screen. It will see all of the fields that are on there, and it will actually script out all of the UI and make that available for me. So that's another example of autopilot technology. Now, I want to move on to a different idea altogether. It's not really developer-oriented. It's actually more about end-user experiences, something that we call Clipboard AI. So does anyone here like, say, copying data from a PDF and putting it into some other kind of thing like an Excel spreadsheet, right? We all, during the day, we have to do those kinds of things. So what we did is we took our technology with our document models behind the scenes, and we created this experience called Clipboard AI. And let me show you a couple of examples here. So imagine I have an invoice, like this invoice here. I want to take information from this invoice and I want to enter it into an ERP system. Now, an invoice is a pretty well-known kind of a document. It comes in lots of different structures. It looks slightly different depending on, who you get the invoice from, but it's always got the standard information available to it. So what Clipboard AI does, if I copy this window, and if my internet connection works, it will essentially take that image. This is an image I'm looking at. It will screenshot the image. It will OCR it. It will understand that it's an invoice, and it will extract the information from that invoice that it needs to be able to put into an application. Okay, I'm going to try connecting to the other internet connection. All right, let's try that again. Okay, so I have an internet connection now. I've copied that document to my clipboard, and it's now recognized it. So let's go ahead and see what that actually does. Here I have a mock ERP system. I'm going to paste some information into it. So let me go back to Clipboard AI and show you what happened behind the scenes by selecting Paste with Mapper. And what this is going to show you is that it recognized that this was an invoice when it looked at the screen. It applied that model to it. If it had got that wrong, I could have told it it was perhaps a different kind of document, or I could have gone ahead and done other kinds of extractions. It shows me here the different fields that it's recognized and extracted. And it also has looked at the actual screen of the application I'm pasting into. And it's basically said, oh, that screen has all of these fields in it. And I think this is the mapping of the right information from the invoice to the right field. So this is actually quite a lot of interesting AI work that's happened here. It had to recognize it was an invoice, had to extract all the right information. It had to read the screen and understand the layout of a different application. It had to map those things between each other, even if they have different names and different formats, and now it has to kind of stitch them together. So I can go ahead and ask it to paste the data, and it will go ahead and fill out the screen as it does that. Now, this application, it was awarded one of the top 100 innovations of the year by Time magazine in the past few months. It's actually available today on our website. You can go and download this and try it. And it's a way that you can get an idea just without having to do anything difficult of what this kind of technology can do. Here's another example, a personal one. You have to put your passport information into an airline. I have a picture of a passport available to me. Here it is. I can go ahead and copy that. I can go back to the airline website. I can paste it, and it's recognized that was a passport. It's applied a passport recognition model to it. It's extracted all the information. It's putting it in. It's coped with things like drop-down dialog boxes. It's coped with the fact the date format can be different in the source application from the destination application. And it's filled out everything except for my country of residence, which it can't actually know from the passport. So that's a pretty cool example. Here's another one. Imagine I had to fill in this PDF form multiple times based on different information that I had. So I'm going to go into Excel. I have multiple different records in an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to select them. It understands this is an Excel spreadsheet, again, with its computer vision technology. It copies out the data directly from Excel, doesn't need a model for that. But now when I go to put it somewhere and paste it in this form, again, using computer vision, it will analyze the form, it'll map everything in, and now it will fill out that form with all three records. So if you think about doing data entry of lots of things in a list that have to go into an application in a consistent way, it can take care of all that for you. You can see here it's filled it out. It's checked the right boxes. It understood how to work with dialog boxes. And something really interesting it did, if I show you this record, see Mary Jane here? If we look back at the original source record, Mary Jane's favorite color was purple. If we look at the drop-down dialog here, it actually selected her favorite color as violet because there wasn't a purple. And so it even understood that it would try and find the closest answer that it could find when it was filling out that form. So it's capable of doing those kinds of things. Okay, so that's a little bit about Clipboard AI. So that's my 20 minutes. We looked at really three technologies. I showed you building a form with autopilot and how that uses our specialized PDF AI, and large language models to lay out and build the form. We had a slight internet hiccup when we tried to look at building UI automation in the same way. And then we looked at Clipboard AI as a finished application that puts together specialized AI, generative AI behind the scenes, and solves a problem that wastes a lot of our time around data entry and copying and pasting. As I said, you can try that out. Happy to talk with anyone afterwards that have questions, or you can stop by and talk to us at our booth for any more information that you want. Thank you.